That's in its closed position over here, in the operational position. And on this extrusion here, you can see where it's got this little slot. That slot is where the head of the bolt. Now let's see if we can figure out what happens and why this is not working. Hi folks. Today I'm going to show you what's inside an LA500 arm. This is made by Liftmaster, and it's about the only arm I'll put on any gate. I've been putting them on for quite a while and they're very good. Now, I've got 4 of them sitting here on the table, and each of them has a problem, and to be honest with you, I've never opened up one of these. Never had to. By the time they have problems, I either figure they're so old it's not worth fixing, you might as well start again, or it's had some kind of catastrophe happen to it. Now, we just went through a hurricane, and a lot of gates were really punished by the wind pushing against them. Now this one did suffer some damage during the hurricane. This one over here suffered some damage during the hurricane, but these two just had other things happen to them. This one here is a 2016 model, and it just wore out. It was opening maybe 30 times a day and closing 30 times a day for 8.5 years. Things wear out. Anyway, this one got hit by the hurricane, and it works fine, except it will not unlatch if you lose power. Now, the Liftmasters all have this little arm on top, and you put a key in here to unlock it, and then when you rotate it around, you can swing the gate open. If it doesn't have any power, it stops working. It's a real handy feature. All the others, you got to pull pins or a bolt or something, and this just works better. Now, these arms are rated by weight and by length of gate. And it's even written on the bottom of here. This one will do an 18-foot gate, 600 pounds, or an 8-foot gate, 1,600 pounds. And it all has to do with how long it is. It's a lever effect. The longer the gate, the more force it puts on it. But something even more important than this is windage. Now, I go to some gates that are all fancied and duded up with pictures of little wildlife creatures and deers and goats and whatever. All that does is add wind to your gate. It's like a sail on a sailboat. That's more important than the weight in my mind, because it's always pushing against it. This is what keeps the gate in position unless you put a mag lock on the end of it. And a lot of places you just don't have the electricity to put a mag lock, especially if they're solar powered. Now, you've got to get some wrenches and get this off here. Because I think what happens is these little screws come off and this case separates. Let me get some wrenches. Got some wrenches here. This is just a 10 millimeter. Liftmaster assembles all these things down in Mexico. I guess like everything else, going to metric. Speaking of Mexico, back during the pandemic, the Mexican government decided that Liftmaster was an essential material supplier, and they shut them down. And boy, that put a world of hurt on our equipment and availability of parts. Just a little bitty block that got drilled and just rides along the top. Now this one's different than a lot of the 400 model, and also like the Apollo tube type. They have a tube that goes out and it's welded to that tube, and it doesn't ride like this does. The tube expands. I've seen 3 or 4 of them break where they welded the nut inside the tube, so I like this a lot better. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. I got us looks like there's 12 bolts. I need a better way to hold this. Of course, I don't ever do it, so I'm going to take time making a, how's that? That'll work better. We're still not back to full strength on replacement parts. It's a lot better, but not great yet. Huh. I wonder if the top comes off better. Need something else. Be back. If we can separate this thing. I got all the screws out. Got one that I didn't get all the way. Well, it's out. Just needs to. I didn't get them all. And that did good. Now this is the part that holds it to the gate post. Aluminum extrusion. Can y'all see down in there? Here. It fit in here. And on this extrusion here, you can see where it's got this little slot. That slot is where the head of the bolt that holds this part onto the gate post goes, so you don't have to put a wrench on top of it up here. So when we put this back together, that needs to be on top. This has got a rubber gasket. There's a little bit of oil here. And this is a cam inside there. Doesn't seem to be worn. Turns easy. That's all there is to this part. And here's the guts of it. Now this is the inside. That's the little plastic bushing that just rolls. There's one down here too. I bet you that's so that this block, when it comes up here, doesn't hit the metal and gives it something to crush against in case it goes too far. This just slides along. Looks like it's got a threaded coupling in there. Then we get to the heart of this machine. Now these are all 24-volt motors. All the other ones are 12-volt. The LA400s and the 412s. 412s are for solar. It's a little transmission. There's a wire momentary switch. What's this? Aha! That's what unlocks this thing. This cam turns and pushes that away and must unlock it. Now this is where some sensors are. This is a smart machine. It's got 6 wires coming into it. 4 for power, then it's got 4 for the sensors. And when this kicks up, that won't let the motor run. When you twist this lever here, the motor won't run after that. So that must be killing the motor somehow. That's all there is to it, guys. Now let's see if we can figure out what happens and why this is not working. I wonder. See if we can. Well, I know this wasn't jammed because the gate was working perfectly. And if it pulls tight enough, it will do it. Okay, that's in its closed position over here, in the operational position. So this flat would be over here, given that room. And then when it turns, show you. When you turn it, it would go to this position. Let me get a measuring device. So from that point there to this point would be 3/4 of an inch. So 3/4 of an inch right there would mean that thing has to come all the way over here. Okay, so it's coming all the way over here. I'll sit there. Where does it let loose? It lets loose right there. That has plenty of throw. Well, I don't know what else to think about this. It seems to be working all right. But it didn't work out in the field all right, you know. Well, I don't know what else to tell you about this. This seems to have enough throw, and when I turn it far enough, it disengages. That's not worn out. I don't know what the problem was. Just go put it back together and go put it on a gate somewhere and see if it unlatches. I don't really have a way to force this because you need the leverage of the gate to be able to move this once it's unlocked.